Hello and welcome to Idea TV News Update. I am Cynthia Bazi. We begin with the headlines. FCTA workers begin indefinite strike over welfare concerns. Côte d'Ivoire introduces 9% VAT on animal feed. Togo clears land for coastal protection on the WACA project. And Guinea launches digital platforms to modernize farming. Away from Africa, Guatemala declares state of emergency after prison gang attacks kill police. In business, Budget Office denies NEDC salary-only claim. And in health, Oyo State dedicates 7.5% of local government funds to primary health care. In sport, FIFA unveils trophy for first Women's Champions Cup. And now the news in full. Workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration under the Joint Union Action Congress today shut the gates of the FCTA Secretariat in Abuja, commencing an indefinite strike. The workers say the action follows months of unresolved welfare issues, including non-remittance of pension and National Housing Fund deductions, unpaid wage, awards and promotion arrears, and poor working conditions. They are also protesting salary centralization, unpaid enforcement workers, and the outcome of the 2024 promotion examination. Union President Mrs. Rifkatu Lotia says the strike will continue until senior government officials meet with the union and concrete steps are taken to address the concerns, warning that staff morale and productivity have been severely affected. Moving on, Côte d'Ivoire has introduced a 9% value-added tax on animal feed, production inputs and packaging materials under its 2026 finance law. The measure, announced by the General Directorate of Taxes, took effect on Saturday, January the 17th, ending years of VAT exemption for the livestock and poultry sector. The government had initially proposed the standard 18% VAT but settled for a reduced rate to limit the impact on farmers and feed producers. Authorities say the move brings animal feed into the formal tax system while trying to cushion cost pressures in a sector where feed accounts for over 60% of production expenses. The reform comes as Côte d'Ivoire pushes to grow its livestock industry and nearly double poultry meat production by 2030. Officials now face the task of balancing tax revenue, industry competitiveness, and rising input costs as local and foreign investors expand animal feed production across the country. In another news, Togo has cleared land and paid compensation to begin new coastal protection works under the West Africa Coastal Areas Resilience Investment Project. Authorities say approximately 350 million CFAs have been paid to residents to facilitate the construction of 3 groins on a 2-kilometer stretch of coastline in Ajisem, southern Togo. The Togolese government is implementing the project with contractors led by Dutch firm Boskalis International. It targets severe coastal erosion, which officials say has pushed the shoreline more than 40 meters inland in parts of the Lacs region, threatening fishing communities and livelihoods. Work began in October last year with 8 of the 22 planned groins now underway and 5 completed as of January 9th. Contractors must accelerate construction to meet the November 15, 2026 deadline as the government races to protect the coastline from erosion and flooding. Now, Guinea has launched a new digital platform to manage agricultural inputs aimed at modernizing the country's farming sector. The platform was unveiled in Conakry as part of efforts to boost food production and efficiency. The launch brought together senior government officials, including Minister of Budget, alongside representatives of the National Chamber of Agriculture and Development partners. The system is supported by the African Development Bank and is central to Guinea's national agricultural input strategy. The digital platform is designed to give farmers reliable access to quality inputs at affordable prices while strengthening private sector participation and government oversight. Authorities say it will improve productivity, support food self-sufficiency, and drive sustainable agricultural development. We're now going on a quick break. The news continues when we return.
5G technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining, this is Idea TV News Update. Now the rest of the news. Away from Africa, Guatemala has declared a 30-day nationwide state of emergency after coordinated prison gang violence killed 8 police officers on Sunday. The unrest followed hostage-taking incidents in 3 prisons around Guatemala City, where dozens of guards and staff were held. President Bernardo Arevalo announced the emergency measures as security forces backed by the army retook control of the prisons and freed all hostages. Authorities say the attacks were carried out by gang members linked to Barrio 18 and Mara Salvatrucha in retaliation for government action against their leaders. The state of emergency suspends public assembly and expands police powers as the government moves to contain escalation criminal violence. Schools were closed, security patrols increased, and the army has been ordered to remain on the streets to dismantle gang networks. And now in business news, the Budget Office of the Federation has rejected claims that the Northeast Development Commission operates a 246 billion naira salaries budget. In a statement issued in Abuja on Thursday, the office said the figure represents a consolidated statutory allocation, not money set aside solely for personnel costs. The clarification was issued by the Director General of the Budget Office, Tanimu Yakubu, who described the claim as misleading and based on a poor understanding of the federal budgeting process. He explained that the allocation appears as a lump sum under the medium-term expenditure framework, with detailed breakdowns provided later in the budget cycle. The Budget Office also said the low capital figure cited by commentators resulted from a National Assembly decision to shift most capital spending to the 2026 fiscal year. It stressed that the NEDC continues to run projects in the Northeast and remains subject to legislative oversight and statutory audits. And now in health news, Oyo State government has allocated 7.5% of statutory local government funds to strengthen primary health care delivery across the state. The decision targets improve access to basic health care or health services, especially at the grassroots level. The Executive Secretary of Oyo State Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Muhyiddin Babatunde Olatunji, disclosed this today while speaking with journalists in Ibadan. He said the initiative reflects Governor Seyi Makinde's commitment to equitable and quality health care, particularly from rural and underserved communities. Dr. Olatunji explained that the funding supports the construction and rehabilitation of about 300 primary healthcare centers, alongside the recruitment of doctors, nurses, and community healthcare workers, ensuring residents can access essential care closer to home. And finally, in sport, FIFA has unveiled the official trophy for its first Global Women's Champions Cup, marking a historic milestone for women's club football. The reveal took place on Monday in London, ahead of the tournament's semi-finals. The unveiling was led by former England international Alex Scott and FIFA Chief Football Officer Jill Ellis, alongside school pupils near Brentford Stadium, where the semi-final matches will be played on Wednesday. The competition brings together women's club champions from every continent. FIFA says the Women's Champions Cup is designed to raise the global profile of the women's game. The tournament will conclude on Sunday at Arsenal Stadium, where the first Women's Intercontinental Club champions will be crowned. And that's all we have for you on Idea TV News Update. But before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. We brought you news that FCTA workers begin indefinite strike over welfare concerns, and Côte d'Ivoire introduces 9% VAT on animal feed. Togo clears land for coastal protection under WACA project, and Guinea launches digital platform to modernize farming. Away from Africa, Guatemala declares state of emergency after prison gang attacks kill police. And in business, budget office denies NEDC salary-only claim. In health, Oyo State dedicates 7.5% of local government funds to primary health care. And finally, in sports, FIFA unveils trophy for first Women's Champions Cup. And now, do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Cynthia Bassi. Thank you for watching.